Izzy Hart, and his little tongue twister here. We have Izzy Hart and Tegra Izze. So Izzy's from Oklahoma. Teg is from Canada. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard to come right on in and do make comments and really kind of analyze the game. I mean, first of all, um, the game was very, very hard fought. That was a very physical game, against a very physical team. We were very concerned about their overall athletic size and bulk, and they've got a great team. They've had a great year. Dustin Kearns, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches in the country, and they don't beat themselves. You got to go earn it, and I didn't think that we got off to the best start, but I thought because defensively until we could kind of get in a groove offensively, I thought defensively in rebounding the ball early on was critical for us until we could kind of get in an offensive rhythm. So I was proud of that. Shot nearly. I'm looking at the stats. We shot nearly 50%. That's good against their defensive team. They're one of the top defensive teams in the country and certainly in our league. And we were able to hold them to 41%. I was a little disappointed late in the game. I thought we were giving up too many easy ones at the rim. Of course, we were emphasizing to take away the three-point shot, and so they couldn't make that ground up as fast. But I thought we got a little bit playing not to lose instead of to win. And I thought I wasn't pleased with that particular part. But on the offensive end, I thought we did a good job of managing their press, did a great job of making free throws. They began to try to extend the game with over 5 minutes to go and to try to make the ground up. So I thought one of the biggest stats, of course, was they've got a really, really good shooting team, particularly with Jalen Tott. And we were able to hold him to 1 of 6 from the three, and they were 5 of 21. I thought that was a key stat for us, of course, as was the opponent field goal percentage. But again, overall, very proud of the fight that our guys had. We're not always the prettiest group as far as executing, but our guys do have a lot of pride. They have some toughness about them and some competitive spirit, and that's been carrying us. I would love to see us be a little sharper at doing some things and play a little smarter at times. But overall, very proud of our team and excited about playing in the semifinals.
We'll open up now for questions.
Coach, Hunter Dawkins, the Gazebo Gazette Super Talk News. I know you've been in this same seat before where you didn't play for 3 days in a row, the first 3 days, and you hadn't played for 11 days before.
Yeah.
What's your take on that at least? I'm not saying that you're talking for App State and listen to coaching, but
Yeah.
you kind of understand at least what
It's tough. We were, a couple of years ago, the year we won the league, we didn't, we had a long layoff, and I know that we came out, our guys played hard, and we really struggled to shoot the ball that night. We were just and of course, I think the score was tied with about 5 minutes, and they went on about a 12 or 14-0 run, and South Alabama did and knocked us out. I'd rather play. I think our guys would rather play, to be honest with you. I don't, I think not that they don't enjoy practice, but I think, they'd rather play. And I'd rather than be home 2 or 3 days and then turn around and play again 2 or 3 days, between games. So, but I think every team's different. Before we came, I talked to our players about my experience at Jones Junior College, and we knew we had to win 5 games. Of course, you have to take these one at a time, but how important the first game was, and you just have to regroup for the next one and go. But it can be done. That we had won 5 games in a row on consecutive nights. So that's kind of where we are. So if your guys want to play, if they're competitive, they love to play basketball, and our guys love to play basketball. I think it's almost heaven for them. They get a chance to play real games every day. So we'll just see, though. We know we got our hands full. We got the number 1 seed, tomorrow, and we'll see. And I know we're talking about great coaching. I think our league has great coaching. I've said that every single night I've been in here. The other coach I think is great, and Dustin Kearns tonight, and of course Scott Cross tomorrow, and we'll just have to really quickly get our game plan set for them, and because we know they got a great team.
Coach, a question from Dima Mixon on Zoom. Can you talk about Taker's performance over the past few games inside? And then also, how encouraging is it when you have multiple guys in foul trouble to still be able to come through on offense so you were able to tonight?
We've got, first of all, Tegra, to answer Dima's first question, Tegra is, he's someone that's very special to me. I don't mind saying that. He's been here 3 years. He's been through some tough times. He's been through a tough injury. Really hurt our team last year. He got hurt second or third game of the season and was out for the year. And it really hurt us. But he's so valuable in more than just what he's done on the floor. First of all, on the floor, he's playing the best basketball of his career. And he plays with incredible spirit. He's tough. But he's smart, one of the most intelligent players that we have, basketball IQ, but also just general intelligence. He understands, and he's a leader, and he's a man of few words. When I was growing up, they had a commercial. It was E.F. Hutton, and when E.F. Hutton spoke, everybody listened. Mr. Joe, you remember that? And that's who he is. He doesn't say a lot, but when he says something, he has the room's attention. And so that's somebody that we need him to be. He's had, because of who he is, and of course Jahi Benet came in here, has had a great year. He's had games where he's played an incredible number of minutes, high minutes, and he's had games where he didn't play much at all. It all depended on what was happening out there and what we needed from him. We knew we needed him tonight, but it even exponentially so tonight because of their size. So we knew tonight was the game that we absolutely had to have him. So anyway, this is a young man that I don't mind telling you I love him, and he's one thing that I'm going to regret is when he finally moves on to professional basketball after here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start crying or do something. May go with you, Teg. Appreciate you, man. But anyway, he means a lot to our program. And I just love the fact that, like I said, his legacy, that he's been here and he's been through the hard times, and now he's getting to experience some of the fruits of his hard work. And then did he have another question?
Just with multiple guys in foul trouble, how big was it to be able to come through that?
Of course, that essentially, we really needed him tonight because Jahi immediately got 3 fouls, and of course we had all kind of guys in foul trouble. But one thing I've said, and some of these guys haven't played much in this tournament, we've got good depth. And there's some guys that are on that bench that haven't played a lot just simply because of the way the games have played out that are really good players. So we're good as far as that's concerned. I feel very confident in every single player that we have on our bench to be able to play in games like this. It just hasn't worked out for we've been able to freely substitute like that. We maybe would. Of course, we're having to make sure that we win every single game. And but anyway, that's how I feel about the depth.
And then another question from Dima for the players. How do you get yourself ready to play a 4th straight game and then potentially a 5th?
Well, I speak for me. We just trying to take one game at a time. We don't trying to look ahead or nothing like that. So after this, gonna go back to the hotel, watch film, get ready for tomorrow, and hydrate. Take care of our bodies and do what we got to do. Just take one game at a time. And basketball is fun. I love playing basketball. So it's just like AAU. So the more games we have, the more fun I have. So.
Is shooting from the floor easier than on the free throw line for you? Because I don't think you missed from the floor, did you?
Yeah, I know a lot of guys gonna look at my percentages over the year. Yeah. Those number guys, they're gonna look at those stats and tell other guys how to guard it. But when it comes with being on the floor, I feel like it's just whoever wants it more is gonna end up winning. And at the end of the day, I feel like we just keep showing y'all we can do that.
He's a great shooter. We've seen that in practice. And of course, he's really done it, and he's a great free throw shooter too. He's starting to just kind of come into his own. Had started off rough this year as far as not making shots, but some of that had to do with his shot selection, and we had to have a few little nice talks about that, and he got it straight though.
To follow up on Dima's question too about the multiple guys and fouls and things as such. I'm guessing you guys have worked on having a strategy and all that for different.
We're used to being in foul trouble.
Okay. But as far as that,
did I handle that one right, Jeremy? we're used to being in foul trouble.
As far as that goes, you guys have obviously prepared for a strategy or scheme and you said about the depth.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. We really don't change. I think our players will tell you all of them are expected to do the same thing. We don't. We really depending on who's on the floor. We'll run different offensive packages. We will. Defensively, nothing changes. Teg a little bit different on the way we handle ball screens with him. The rest of the guys, the rest of the 14 of the other 14, we all guard everything the same way. We'll adjust a lot of times during the course of a game. If a team like tonight, they were beginning to hurt us with some things early on. One, I thought we just had to get a lot tougher. We had to get a lot tougher. They do a great job, those big bodies, and they were getting us. Gore-tatting is the basketball word for it, and they get in there and they're sealed down in there low. And I thought we just had to fight a little bit harder to get off of those. But Hunter, to be honest with you, and again, I think they would echo what I'm telling you. We don't really run. We run different offensive packages. Naturally, every team would do that for who happens to be out there on the floor and who has the hot hand. But we don't think like, well, we're in foul trouble, so this is what we're going to run. No, we don't do that. It's just we have our offenses, whatever it may be, against the team that we're playing against. Everybody's expected to do what their job is, and we'll play to our strengths based on who's on the floor, if that makes sense.
Coach, a question from Scott Kirk on Zoom. How is your team able to control things offensively against one of the best defenses in the league?
Great defensive team. Again, if you'd have told me we were going to come in and shoot nearly 50% against that team, I would have, I'd have taken it all day long. And I just think our guys, if they get the basketball to the right places, we've gotten so much better at taking care of the ball, and some of our turnovers are literally about to drive me crazy. One turnover is too many, but we've really reduced that number from earlier in the year. So we're taking care of the ball so much better. I have to give Dylan Brumfield and Izzy and Keontae Trimble a lot of credit too. They handle the ball a lot up front, and then Bully Weeks is very versatile, so we use him a lot to help, as y'all saw tonight, to bring the basketball up against pressure as well. And he's a mismatch problem for most teams because he can handle it like a guard, and generally they'll have a bigger player guard him. So it's kind of a pressure release for us to use him to bring the ball up.
Coach, a couple different questions on Zoom, just on preparations for Troy, and maybe is it easier or harder in this format to prepare for teams, kind of knowing who you may face going ahead?
It's very difficult. I mean, we're literally turning it around in less than 24 hours. My wife's with me; she'll tell you not a lot of sleep, but we can rest. We can rest in late March, the way I see it. So you can sleep late, sleep then. So, you just immediately turn around and get ready for the next one. So I told our guys then, y'all be happy for about 10 minutes, and then let's get back to the hotel. Let's focus on Troy. And we know Troy going to come in here. We beat them the last time we played them a couple weeks ago, and Scott's a great coach. So they're going to have, and they would have had all this time to prepare. So, I don't know if they expected us to be this far deep in the tournament. I have no idea. I can't worry about what's going on in Troy, Alabama. But I know with us, we've got a basic idea of their personnel, and it's going to be, we'll just have to be really, really sharp with our guys. But they know what our routine. We'll go straight back, right to film. Our assistant coaches have done a great job of preparing for all the teams that we may play in our bracket, and so they'll have the scout ready. So we'll get locked into it pretty quick. But it's a quick turnaround, I can tell you that. It's not a lot of room for a lot of fooling around, I can tell you.
Any final questions? Go ahead, Hunter.
T, you've been here with Coach Ladner for close to 3 years. You've seen the good and you've seen the bad, obviously, with this, not only with the coach, but with the team and with the program as well. Talk to me about how this has helped you develop as a player, and, Coach, you can follow up with that also.
Yeah, last year, with the injury that I had, I feel like it was a great setback for me, and, allowed me to grow as a person, as a leader, and as a basketball player. I learned so much things. Got closer to God, just everything just got better in my life. And, it was a point of time, in summertime where I wanted to leave, but me and coach had a conversation. We talked it out, and he's been loyal to me, and I showed my loyalty back to him, and I told him that I'm coming back, and we gonna make a run. That's the thing that me and him talked about in the recruiting process. The year after they won the league, I told him that I'm the missing piece that you need, and unfortunately, my first year got bounced in the first round, and last year with the injury. So this is kind of my revenge tour, and I'm just making the most out of it.
Sure.
Coach,
What was the question?
it was overcoming adversity that you guys have had the last few
Yeah, like last year was over with. The year before was over with. Every year's different. What's really neat, Hunter, is like and I talked about this last night. God put us all here together. Most of these guys, of course, Teg was here, but Izzy and all of his teammates. There's no way you could have figured all these guys were going to be here together. So God's put us here for some kind of reason, right? And we're all men of faith, and so we're all here for some reason, and that we trust in God that He's put us here together, and God expects us to. He says to be stewards of our talents, and we want to take the talent that He's blessed us with, give glorification in His name by the way that we carry ourselves on and off the floor, and the way that we play. And so I don't really worry about last year. I was always taught, don't ever look back unless that's the direction you want to go. Last year was over with. We shelved it. And this year's a separate year. And then here in a few weeks, next year, it'll start again. You'll have a really short life. An athletic team has a very short life because some of those guys will move on. They'll graduate, transfer, whatever it may be. So let's make the best of where our feet are right now. That's what we talk to our guys about. We're all here together for some reason. Well, I don't know what it is, but we're all here together. Let's make the most of it while we're all here together because pretty soon it'll be over with and we'll move on.
I'm going to take this as the last question here on Zoom. A couple people asking it. Coach, the high school team you coached the last for 2 decades, won the state title today. Can you just talk about the emotions of that?
I am so. I was nervous earlier in the day for them. I had just an incredible experience coaching. I started off as a high school coach. I'll be honest with y'all. I grew up the son of a high school coach, and that's really the life that I always wanted since I was just a little boy. And I was given the opportunity when I graduated at USM to go to coach basketball at a really neat school, all-boys school down on the Mississippi coast called St. Stanislaus. Been there since 1854. If you knew, Mississippi's only Heisman Trophy winner, Doc Blanchard, played there. I mean, it's a great school, very disciplined, structured, faith-based, and anyway, so we won the first school state championship in 2011. I was very blessed, great young men. And one of my former players and two other of my former players, one of my former players is a head coach, two of my other former players are assistant coaches, and they played today for the state championship in Mississippi, won the second state championship. I'm almost not as excited, but I'm almost as excited for them, and I'm anxious to call them when we get done here.